So I was thinking about the movie The Other Boleyn Girl, and it's so freaking crazy to me. Because like it portrays in all those movies with kingdoms and queens and kings, they portray so much the fact that we as women have just discarded our bodies as the society did. To us, and we have denied our bodies, and our bodies were only birth machines, baby machines, and we were nothing more but just a machine. And if you weren't given sons, or and if you weren't lucky enough to give a son to the king, you were nothing, and your body was used for soon to be kings or soon to be princes and then kings. And it's just so disgusting how we have lived as women. And that was for women that were like of royalty, right, of class. Okay, and they weren't treated. The only thing that they really had that was good when it come down to, like, if we're supposed to put them together with another village girl, is the fact that they had to eat and they had to wear those beautiful dresses and jewelry. Other than that, they treated them like shit, which means that no matter if you were a queen or not, people were shitted on you. So, and it's so freaking sad, because when you look at the history going backwards, and even Asian women were like, generally women from around the world, we were so put out of our own bodies. Our bodies were never ours. Our bodies were always someone else's. Whether that is to create history, to create kingdoms, to create families, but we had no right in our bodies, and we were so out of touch with our bodies. And it's so crazy to me that now we're being called, because now we see a lot of women start being back into their bodies, start choosing their bodies, start owning their bodies. A lot of women start to be curious about their moon cycles, about their phases, about their hormones. And I'm one of them. I had to be 24 to have insulin resistance, to find out about my hormones and my moon cycle. And so crazy to me, I was just so mad and so angry when I started learning all those things that we never learned them. We never did. We never, nobody teaches what a moon cycle is, our phases, what are the type of foods that we should eat in its phase, in its season of our cycle. A lot of women don't even know what a moon cycle is. A lot of women don't know how to work with a moon. A lot of women do not know how to work with their hormones. We don't know that. We don't know a lot of things that we should supposed to know. And it's so freaking crazy to me. And it's what is crazy is that we are coming back to our bodies, but there's so much pain and grief that comes with understanding what has happened in the women throughout the centuries, and also how we have learned to live. Okay, because this is not natural. Our life is not natural. Thinking that we can go toe to toe with men business wise is not natural. And I'm not saying I don't enjoy women being business women. I do. The thing is that we are so differently created that it puts more pressure and anxiety to our body. It puts us out of balance with our hormones, you know? And that is sad. And I'm not saying that I'm not happy. I'm really happy that there are women who they're getting their own bread and they can be financially free and independent, because that was one big problem that we had to deal with for centuries, right? But it's also the fact that we are now becoming more masculine based, and that is not why we were created. We're not created to look and act like men. And I know what you're thinking, you know, especially if you've been brought into feminism, you will be like, no, but women can do whatever men can do. The thing is, I used to believe that too until I had my hormone imbalance. But it's not like that, sweetheart, I swear. We were meant to rest and follow our intuition and do something from home and do something that is easy, that do not pressure us or put us in anxiety, because then we are in a constant loop of hormone imbalances. And a lot of people be having those, but they don't know it, you know, until it really becomes chronic, or I don't know, until it becomes like a real big health issue. But yeah, we were made to be more at ease. And when I say use our intuition, it's not a bad thing, because like a lot of us could do so many things. Like you can do so many things from home. You can be an entrepreneur and do things from home. You don't have to go out where, you know, but then you may tell me like, what about musicians? What about actors? Of course, you know, like everybody has to do what they have to do. All I'm saying is we need to bring to the table different ways in which women can work and should work, and we need to put that into our minds, because that's how we change systems, by being the change, not just by waiting change to come, because that will never just happen. You know, we need to do it. We need to show others that, hey, you know, that can happen, that is possible. We also need to educate ourselves on how a woman's body works. What is our history? Do we have a history with chronic illnesses, or why is that? You know, because it's not to take another pill, and it's not to just keep the cycle, it's to break it. Okay? Like I come from a cycle with women that have a lot of issues with their stomach. My biological grandma almost with cancer in her stomach. My great grandma, which I never, you know, I don't have any contact with my biological family from my mother's side, and especially my great grandparents. Only my grandma. Anyways, she had cancer and she died really quickly. And I think, and my mother had Hashimoto. Then she really deaded her thyroid, and that says a lot. So yeah, and then I had almost borderline Hashimoto and insulin resistance. And you know, when that happened, I was like, okay, you know, because I always was really sad and really cautious when it comes down to illnesses. I didn't want to continue the cycle. What I realized is that sometimes maybe the same things will show up just for you to reverse them and deal with them and end them. I don't think I have Hashimoto anymore, because like my latest tests were really good, but I'm still insulin resistant. And that is an autoimmune disease, autoimmune issue, autoimmune illness. And it has to do with it's a hormonal imbalance. So yeah, here we go again. It's the game of love. So yeah. And throughout this process, I'm really trying to understand. See, the problem with a lot of people is that they just want to solve a problem. You know, and the thing we do with a lot of our friends, and I used to do that a lot, and then I realized is that we try to give advice so quickly, we try to give the solution so quickly that we forget to listen, we forget to understand. Okay, it's not just finding the reason behind it, but it's also understanding it and sitting with it, right? Like, what does it want to tell you? You know, it has a reason, yes. It has a solution, yes, but you also need to understand. You know, to find the reason is to understand the problem that causes an illness. And I'm not sitting here to tell you I know everything, because I don't. I'm still trying to, you know, kind of stabilize the whole thing. And I'm not perfect. I'm not doing that really well. I try to do my best. But I haven't solved it yet, because sometimes what I've realized is what our body needs the best is not pressure, it's understanding that we have the problem, and it's accepting the problem. I have this problem, right? You know, and it's not, it's sometimes is living with it, not to the point that you are going to live forever in your life with that, because that's like kind of like letting it be, right, without doing anything. But sometimes in order to solve something, it is to sit with it, understand it, observe it, you know, live it. That's the only way you can actually find the medicine. And I'm not sitting here knowing everything again. But what I have realized, like, throughout 1 year is that when I learned it, I really quickly wanted to reverse it. Like, it was something really bad. The truth is, it was really bad. It knocked me the fuck down. But the other truth is that insulin resistance is the best thing that has ever happened to me. You know? Because I learned more. I learned more about my own cycle. I learned more about my hormones. I learned more about the lifestyle I need to have in order to be okay. I learned more about my body. I learned more about the people and the relationships I want to have around me. You know, after doing some wrongs in the process, right? But I've learned a lot. It taught me a lot. It protected me a lot. It showed me a lot. And I recently learned that a disease or something that is happening in your body is because that's the best way your brain can actually protect you, by making you ill, by giving you, I don't know, like a mental health illness or sickness, right? That's because your brain wants to give you a life, and that's the best way you can do it. And for me, he made me insulin resistant because I needed to chill the F down. That's what I needed to do, and that was the only way I could do it. And take serious my health and my boundaries. And then a lot of other things happened for me to learn how to have boundaries. I'm still on it, okay? But I have become more aggressive now. And I love it. Because for so long, I really wanted that. But you know what I realized? Life puts you in that position sometimes. It's not just the practice you do. You have to experience it. Sorry. No matter how many books you are going to read, you're going to mentally understand it. But do that and break the cycle, or break the patterns, is difficult. It's difficult. And for people who say it's not, whatever. You know, like whatever. But it's difficult. Sometimes you need to have a lot of setbacks. Sometimes you need to redo it. I don't know how many times till you fucking get it. But yeah. Sooner or later, when you need to learn in life, you will. And sooner or later, you are going to realize that everything that was said your way, that sounded and looked ugly, sounded and looked like it wasn't good for you, you know, it was a blessing in disguise. You know, that's what I realized. And that's what I know that I will realize after a lot of this rain that I have in my life. you know, is because I'm dealing with a lot lately, a lot, of really lots. I'm going to make another video about it, but I know that what I'm going through, I needed that. I needed that because no book can ever teach me that. No therapist can ever teach me that, because like a therapist can guide you, right? But the real life is when shit hits the fan. Is when we are like, you know, like a life is a real play. You know, you get to stage and you need to act your role, right? And you need to remember the lines. And that's when we see if you can remember the lines, if you can play a good role. If not, we can wrap it up. We can do it again and again and again till you actually get it. So, you know, therapy and all is good, but because it's guidance, but getting out to the real life, it's up to you and your decisions. And sometimes for you to be ready, some things needed to happen. Because like being ready is not a practice. It will never be. Being ready is a situation. Okay? It's a situation pushing you to do things. Like in my life, I've never been ready. You know what? I push myself to be ready. Life and situations push me to be ready because I had no other way, no other choice but to be ready. Okay, so that's what I want to say. Thank you for listening.